Well, hey, welcome to our Monday morning motivation. I am so excited to be joined by Jordan Staub, who's one of our incredible DBA students in our #1 Forbes ranked Doctorate of Business Administration program here at Walsh College. Jordan just published a book called From Battlefield to Boardroom, applying situational leadership principles from the military to civilian leadership. So proud of it. I wanted to actually share it on this video. So here it is on Amazon. So exciting to see this book. Oh my gosh, Jordan, 5-star rating. So tell us a little bit about what motivated you to write this book. And we'll put a link to Jordan's book too, so you can get a copy. It is incredible. So Jordan, tell us a little bit about what motivated you to put this out there.
Oh, absolutely. Again, thank you so much for spending your morning with me. So I have 14 years of military experience, and that's a combination between the Air Force and the Army. As well as those 14 years, I have 10 years experience within the federal government, being just a federal employee. So just being in the military and learning some situational leadership principles, I could see where in the civilian sector it'd be greatly beneficial. So I decided to write a book as quickly as I can within 10 weeks in the amazing leadership class that Dr. Siegel hosted. But yeah, so where it stemmed from was the to see the holes in the need within the civilian sector. A lot of the civilian sector is really rigid in their leadership. I guess I would say philosophy and the way they lead their workforce. It's very robotic. It's either one way or this way. It's either very qualitative or very quantitative.
Well, it's
Um,
interesting you say that because you talk about the importance of adaptability. And I think that's so key because many times people think the military is overly structured or overly prescriptive. And really, you all are planners, but you also understand, and I've heard this said from so many of our colleagues, that no plan survives combat. So you have to be adaptable in the moment.
no, absolutely. Those are great points. So yes, just being flexible, adapting to each situation. So when you're on the battlefield, as we all know, you are surrounded by chaos. So there's times where you need to be direct. There's times where you need to be a follower. There's times where you need to be a leader. So there is no two situations that are alike. So yes, you need to be extremely flexible. So taking those principles and applying them to the civilian sector, I believe there would just be amazing results for everyone involved.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point. I really want to highlight this as we kind of wrap it up because I wanted to make sure we gave we gave the readers enough of a taste, but I want them to buy the book because I know for me, I don't have military experience. I admire the way the military does do planning and leadership and the way they can work under pressure, as you say, in chaos. And if these strategies can survive the military, the battlefield, they will be very effective in the boardroom. And I think that's really key. How you also talk about leaders to foster a culture of effectiveness and innovation. So briefly tell us, like in the military, where were you seeing some innovation develop that you think, wow, that could really translate to civilian leadership?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It just goes right back to that situational leadership, the core principles. I remember specifically being in a briefing and being in front of a colonel. And prior to this briefing, I always thought that, the way to lead people was, being empathetic, practice, be more understanding, so on and so forth. I wasn't anti, quantitative, like leadership or anything like those. But no, I just thought, my own unique situations, I always saw the value in it. So the colonel explained the concept of situational leadership and explained different scenarios and an importance in saying that, there's times, you can't be empathetic. You need to be direct, such as in the battlefield. If I'm sitting in the middle of a gunfight and I'm worried about, a private's scenario back at home, very well that could be a very bad decision, and a fatal one at that. So in that situation, you would need a direct leadership style. The same principles can be applied back in the civilian sector, where there are times to be direct and there's times to be empathetic, and it's up to you to best adapt yourself to those situations to see where those leadership principles best fit.
God, this is so good because I can't tell you how many times I've talked to leaders and entrepreneurs and business folks, and they're like, I know, but this is not working. What do I do? I'm told I have to do this. Or, servant leadership says I need to do this, or empathetic leadership, relational leadership. And this book is like the answer because it says to you, yes, all those have a place, but it is situational. And it really helps leaders develop like a on the pulse, right? Like real live time metric engage so that they can say, oh, this is when I need to be direct. This is when I need to be empathetic. This is when I need to maybe lead from the back and let others go first and demonstrate and model leadership. So I love this book because it doesn't just speak to military professionals. Like obviously, if you're a military professional, you're in the military or you transition to civilian life or you know people that have in your family, this is a great book to get for yourself. But it's especially good for leaders that are navigating change and chaos. And I don't know who would say at times their organization isn't operating in a healthy level of chaos, right? And how they can apply these principles. So I'm so happy for you. I'm so grateful for you. You were an outstanding student in the class and you really put together an incredible contribution and resource. So I highly recommend it from Battlefield to Boardroom. We'll put a link to Jordan's book and you can definitely reach out and connect with Jordan on LinkedIn. But Jordan, thank you so much for this valuable contribution to leadership. I know I learned from it. And that's a great example of learning, from mutual leadership. Because I was the teacher in the class, but I was also a student from all of you. So thank you very much. I have to ask you, who is one of your mentors or someone that you looked up to when you were in the military? And you don't have to give a name or you can give a position, but I just love asking that of folks and of leaders.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's one particular person that comes into mind. He was actually a major, and when I was going through my undergrad, I would actually meet with them weekly and discuss, issues I was having, or if I needed motivation, so just a path forward. So I won't put his name out there, but yes, it was a major that carved out time in his busy schedule to meet with me and develop me.
So good. Thank you for sharing that. So important to have those mentors. And so as you're a leader, you can carve out time. I always think that's the most valuable resource you have for your people. So Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. And everyone else, have a wonderful start to your week. Get a copy of Jordan's book and go leaders.